everyone, it's Ashley and today I am bringing you my July TBR video. So here are all of the things that I want to try to read in the month of July. Okay, so first of all I'm going to start with the graphic novels that I want to read in July. I've actually already read 4 graphic novels this month. It's pretty great. I'm pretty happy about it. I'm not going to tell you what they are. If you follow me on all of my social media-y things, you probably already know because I tweet/Instagram my books probably way too often, but I'm going to show you the ones that I haven't read yet, but I do want to try to get to this month. And the first one is Fables. This is by Bill Willingham, Lan Medina, Steve Laiola, and Craig Hamilton. This is like fairy tale retellings. I don't know much about it other than it is apparently really, really good fairy tale retellings where some of the characters aren't necessarily what you'd expect them to be. Like, some of the good characters aren't necessarily good and some of the bad ones aren't necessarily bad. Like, for example, like the big bad wolf is not necessarily like the bad guy kind of thing. That's what I've been told about it. I'm not reading, I actually have not even read the description on the back of it. I just purchased it knowing that a lot of people really loved it and that it's a fractured fairy tale, which I tend to really, really like, because I don't want to be spoiled, so I'm excited to read it. Also, there's like 20 some odd volumes of Fables, so if I like it, I have like a ton to read for like the rest of time. And then we have Miss Marvel Generation Y. This is the second volume of the new Marvel Now, Miss Marvel. I loved the first volume of this. I loved it a lot. I love the new Miss Marvel character. I really like the writing. I really, really like the artwork. So I'm really excited to dive into the story again and kind of just spend a little bit more time with the characters and see where it's headed. And also the third volume is already out, which means that if I love this as much as I love the first one, I actually have more to read, whereas when I read the first one there was nothing else released, so I had to wait forever, so excitement. And the last graphic novel on my TBR list is Lock and Key Volume 3. Which one is this called? Crown of Shadows. I adored the first and second volumes in this. It is kind of like creepy, thrillery, psychological kind of graphic novels. I love them a lot. They are based off of H.P. Lovecraft, and if you don't know who H.P. Lovecraft is, he basically developed the majority of the monsters that we know today, or at least like what the monsters we know today are based off of. H.P. Lovecraft created that. And Joe Hill writes it. Joe Hill of Horns fame. He's also Stephen King's son. It's just so good. It's so good and creepy, but so good. Okay, so moving on to the books that I'd like to try to read this month. The first one is The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman. I've actually already started this. It is just as amazing as I anticipated it being because it's Neil Gaiman and he is like an author god. So I'm really excited about it. It is a retelling of The Jungle Book, but instead of being in a jungle, it is in a graveyard. So far, it's so, so, so good. I'm really excited to see where it's headed, and I really, really hope to finish it this month. I don't see why I wouldn't. I'm already addicted to it, so. The next book on my TBR for July is I'll Give You the Sun by Jandy Nelson. I hauled this month in my June book haul, which I will leave linked down below if you haven't seen it. And almost everyone was like, oh my god, I'll Give You the Sun was so good! Or like, Ashley, you're gonna love I'll Give You the Sun, it's so good! And I was like, okay, I should probably read this ASAP because I trust people who watch my videos to know the kind of books that I love, and on top of that, it's dual narrated. It's dual narrated, so I already know I'm gonna love it, but if you guys say I'm gonna love it that much, I trust you, so I'm really, really excited to get into this. It'll probably be the next novel that I pick up because, yes, also this cover is just so pretty. It's just so pretty. And next we have Armada by Ernest Cline. I really, 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 really want to make time to read this book this month. I have a hard time sometimes really getting into science fiction novels because I find that it takes me quite a while to get into it. Like, it'll take me about 100 to 150 pages to like really get into the story where I'm like, oh my god, I need to be reading right now. I need to be reading right now. Whereas with other types of novels, I find that it only takes me about 50 pages for me to get that insanely obsessed with things. So it's a bit more of like a time commitment with a sci-fi novel for me, but I really like sci-fi novels and I haven't read a really good one in a long time, and I really, really, really want to read this. So hopefully I get to it this month. Hopefully, hopefully, hopefully. Most people who have read this have had really, really good things to say. So if you are another person who got an advanced copy of this book and have already read it, or are viewing this after the book has come out and you've read it. Let me know in the comments down below if like it was mind-blowingly amazing, because I think it's gonna be mind-blowingly amazing. I have high hopes. I have really, really high hopes. I am going overboard with my TBR this month. I have 2 more books to show you, and the first one being A Long Way Down by Nick Hornby. I really want to read a Nick Hornby novel. I've heard nothing but good things about this novel. It sounds exactly up my alley. Like, it sounds like exactly like the kind of novel that I would want to read, and yes, I really want to read it, so hopefully I get to it soon. I have this feeling, I know it sounds weird, I've never read a Nick Hornby novel before, I've never even read anything that he's written before, but like I have this feeling in my gut that Nick Hornby is going to become like a new favorite author for me, but I haven't even read any of his stuff. So I really want to read this book to find out whether or not he's going to become a new favorite. And last but certainly not least, I have Letters to Zell by Camille Gripe. I don't know how to pronounce that last name. If you watched my book haul video, which again is down there if you want to watch that, I talk about the awesomeness that is this novel. I haven't even read it, but it is a fractured fairy tale that is very like Enchanted the movie-like, where there's like a fairy tale world that lives parallel with our world, but the fairy tale characters have to follow their book. So they have to follow the story of their characters. So like, let's say Sleeping Beauty falls in love with someone who isn't her prince. It doesn't matter. She has to marry her prince, and she has to kiss him. She has to play out the whole thing exactly right. She needs to fall asleep and prick her finger and like all of that kind of stuff. Like, that needs to happen. That's just like necessary. And this is about what happens when Rapunzel, or Zell, finishes her story and then basically says, screw all of you. I'm not going to continue to live this story. The story's now over and I want to do other things. So she just kind of like pieces out. And then the other princesses are like, we can do that? I don't need to be a princess forever? I can be other things? So I'm really excited about it. I feel like it's going to be very like female empowerment, or at least that's my hopes. I have high hopes that this is going to be very like kick butt female empowerment, princess-like. Just sounds so good. I'm really excited to try it. Okay, so there is my July TBR as of right now. As you guys know, I don't tend to always go by my TBR. A lot of times I read things that aren't even on this list, and I rarely get to everything on my TBR, but in an ideal world, I will get to read all of these things this month. You know, in an ideal world. If you have read or want to read any of these books, always comment down below and let me know your thoughts, and otherwise tell me what you guys want to read this month in the comments down below, and I will see you guys soon with another video. Happy reading. Bye!